On broadcast, but wow, 1-1 here. This is huge.
All right. Hey, that is what we are jumping into. We'll get the names sorted out for you on the screen in just a moment. But hey, two cool guys on the B stage. That's what we're looking at.
Oh, yeah, we got the cool guys to watch all the other matches. But no, honestly, very excited for this. I'm curious as much as everybody out there how they ended up at a 1-1. But you know what? It doesn't matter. This is the game that matters.
Okay, interesting. So Fluffy Nemesis is going to pick up that Gyarados, a Pokemon that has seen very interesting results in our tournament so far. One of the Pokemon closer to that 50% win rate range. It's really interesting. It wins some games, it dominates some others, and it's absolutely tragic in others. So, going to be interesting to see if Fluffy Nem can use it to its best ability.
Yes, Gyarados is tragic. The Magikarp that is the real tragedy. But interestingly enough, we are going to see, of course, Potato on the signature Buzz Wall, and it does look like we're going to get a Mew pick at the end. Okay. So this is looking like a very high burst damage team from Yalla Bingo. Of course, a lot of slams from a few of the different Pokemon there, and then a good amount of burst to try and follow it up.
And it's not anti-dive in the way of having a lot of extra damage or crowd control when the dive comes in, but it is anti-dive in the realm of just survivability. Sylveon and Mew are two attackers in a role that is historically known for being squishier, are generically very tanky Pokemon, and their Unite moves are incredible at avoiding damage. Two of the best, honestly, in the entire class. So having those as options into Trainer's Leafeon is really going to help them.
Especially paired alongside a Hoopa, where you only need a little bit of extra time of surviving to be able to get into that portal, get into safety. So a lot of really cool synergy as far as the survivability.
And they're sticking to not really bending to the other team's will at all. They're playing what they want to. So let's get into it. Game 3 between Fluffy Nemesis and Yalla Bingo.
Ooh, we get to start with a Game 3 because we're cool guys. But we are going to see, I think, pretty standard options as far as where everybody's going to go. And of course, one more reminder to everybody, this is on the B stage. So huge shout outs to production for being able to get us this match. That's why you're not seeing any of the pictures or so on. This is extra credit for only extra cool guys. And of course, all of an extra cool chat. We're already seeing the aggression from Potato up top on that Buzzwole. Great eject button to get away from that.
Yeah, Potato, one of the best Buzzwole players literally worldwide. Gets very close to taking out Metallic on that Magikarp, but just comes a little bit shy. Now they're going to deal with the Leafeon, but that will be Sylveon with the response. 60s on a huge rotation and takes that first knock out of the game.
Oh, this is so aggressive. Yalla Bingo, we've known them very well. They can be one of the most dominant teams that we've seen. Their aggression, their ability to brawl is second to none. Sometimes so they just run into that wall, but you let them play their game, and that is their game.
Yeah, maybe one of the most momentum-based teams that we have ever got the chance to cover, right? You and I primarily covering North America and EU. Yalla Bingo fits that mold to a T. But now, obviously, this is the time you want that momentum to pick up when you were at the World Championships.
There may be no other more important time.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, this is a gigantic deal, especially in one of what is considered one of the most difficult groups. But we are going to be pushing down on bottom. We're going to see the Hyper Voice coming out from Sylveon. That's been a lot less popular recently, but it is doing a lot of damage right now, being able to pick up the KO on that poor little Phantom, still being gatekept from evolving.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty huge alongside that Mew, right? Hyper Voice to reduce the special defense of any target they're hitting with that huge scream, and then that's going to be Mew trying to double down on the damage. But if we're going to think of any moment to call it as successful so far, it's most likely the fact that it's taken Metallic this long to evolve. They got it before that 8-minute mark, which is kind of the benchmark you're looking for, but still, this Buzzwole has been out-leveling the Gyarados.
Yeah, and getting so many more stacks. I mean, that was 4 points until just a second ago on the side of Fluffy Nemesis, so they've got to be really happy about that. If you're Potato, if you're on the side of Potato, but look at that sneaky little mid-evolution between Inteleon. I always forget the name, even though I really liked it.
It's Drizzile, and
thank
just
you.
In a phase. Don't worry about it.
All right.
But it will be the blue buff going down to the Mew. So interesting rotation of the central area. Mew and Sylveon, both Pokemon that don't need a ton of experience, so they're very willing to share. Whoever needs it at any moment can grab that EXP, get those levels, and join these team fights that much stronger.
Yeah, I feel like we're just really hitting a lot of these power spikes somewhat for Fluffy Nemesis. They finally got the Trevenant on board. They get the Gyarados to level up. We're getting close to, well, we basically just hit evolution level as well for the Inteleon with the Snipe Shot. So now they can really compete in these fights. That was the strength of having something with Buzzwole and Mew and Sylveon and Hoopa, is you're just like, we're going to fight all the time, and we don't care about what you're going to do about it.
Yeah, absolutely not. And one thing I just thought about, I don't even remember the bans at this point in time, but yeah, no Charizard, no Sarilage, have to imagine those getting banned away. Regieleki taking a whole lot of damage. Internal with a great call out on where Metallic is. Finds them in that tall grass. No chance of a theft, and Metallic will abandon ship on that Gyarados. Headed to the enemy central area.
Ooh, that's a little cheeky, as one would say. Some Unites coming out, though, from the side of Yalla Bingo. They're really trying to defend that gold zone, and they're getting a counter push. Huge Electro Ball coming out of the Mew. They're going to be resetting a lot of their members. 3 coming back through that Hoopa portal. Hypervoice is going to go a little bit wide, but at the very minimum, it's going to say you have to run backwards while we're seeing Metallic get some scores in.
Yeah, not a very team fight-centric matchup so far, right? Just little skirmishes kind of all across the board, but I feel like so far Yalla Bingo has been the ones keeping the pace ahead in their direction. Potato getting in a ton of stacks on the top side of the map, and a few of these big moments being enabled by Marv on this Mamoswine or Lunder on the Mew. Big lineups for Yalla Bingo so far. It's going to be up to Fluffy Nemesis for the respawns.
Fluffy Nemesis, we're still respawns with the respawns, but we're also still not used to saying Fluffy Nemesis recently picked up, and they've got to make a good showing of this, which they clearly already are, but they're just still fighting back from the back foot. They do have a lot of a level advantage, to be quite honest. Not a lot, but a significant amount, despite the fact that they're down on points, and that is the sign that it's like, okay, we finally hit our power spikes a few minutes ago. We're starting to catch back up with everything, but we still need to find some points, and they're just going to rush into the other side of the map, I guess. That's one way to do it. Oh, that stopped them from going in. That launched them all up.
Oh, that's such a perfect move. Dragon Current knocking up everybody, so that portal is prevented. However, Light Screen plus Super Swole Slam is a recipe for disaster if you are Metallic. Buzzwole takes that takedown, takes a snipe shot as well as about half of that Razor Leaf damage, so a bit of a stay away from us kind of play, but they will make it back to the goal zone. Potato's impact will never be misunderstood. They are taking over moments of this game.
And that's what you expect from them when they're on that buzz wall. And now that it's not super high in the meta, you very rarely are going to see that thing banned. So it's just going to be opportunity after opportunity. Right now, the opportunity is just trying to solo that Regieleki up top, getting challenged by Rex, but immediately bringing some allies up top with that Hoopa portal. And by allies, I guess I mean just the Hoopa. You're not going to be dealing all that much damage while they're fighting on bottom. Regice already at half HP. Hypervoice is going to be absolutely melting it, quite literally. But unfortunately, they get the reset.
All right, they get the reset. They buy a little bit of time. But Yifan wants to turn back after that score. They might be able to sneak that snipe shot and take the score, but no, it will be the Sylveon to take it. Dragon Current again from Metallic, an early channel, but they're just going to be out of range. Everybody runs. I guess it's the same effect if they all run away.
Yeah, it's like a fear effect, I suppose.
Sure.
It's just, I guess, in quite a literal sense. But we have a very, very low Hoopa up there. That's very scary to me. We are going to see a little bit of fighting in the middle. Evolution's trying to go at it, but the best Evolution, the best Leon, or Eon, is the Inteleon, who's going to be the last one there to fight. Going with the Mamoswine, also chasing down with the Unite move.
Okay, interesting. I mean, a lot of Unite moves used at this point in the game. We'll clearly be able to earn them back, but a little combo play and teed up, and Lunder is able to take that knockout. Truly a master of the Mew in every sense of the word. 34 points go in for Potato on the Buzzwole, and the score tempo remains in Yalla Bingo's hands, as has had the entire match.
I think the way they're playing this is so smart. They're doing such a good job of defending, as we're going to see Potato go down in the other side of the map, but they're doing such a good job of defending and holding on to this lead because I think they realize their late game scaling is maybe not quite as scary as Fluffy Nemesis is, so they've got to hold on to the advantage that they have and force them into an unfavorable position later in the game, which they've done a pretty good job of. They're still up by about 120 points.
Yeah, I definitely have that lead. 120, maybe not the biggest thing we've ever seen in the world, but hey, it is an impactful lead, especially when you're running this kind of team comp. If you're going into an Inteleon team composition, you want to have that point lead. You want to force the Inteleon to be the playmaker. It's a Pokemon that's not really suited to that. It doesn't take space. It wants to play from advantage.
Right, and especially as well, you having a Mew, you kind of get a little bit of that yourself, and being able to win on the Poke War by getting resets on your whole team with the Hoopa. So right now we're seeing a little bit more of a passive game. Some checks as we're only about 25 seconds away from the final stretch. There could be a burn down on this basement Reggie that's about to spawn. I think both teams are eyeing it, but may not actually go for it fully. It does look like Fluffy Nemesis really wants it. Only 14 seconds left. If they get engaged on, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, they're going to take that thing out very quickly. So Yalla playing a little more safe just because I don't think they had a vision of all 5 members, so they were expecting maybe a bit of a counter push or a back cap scenario. Plus, we're great at shutting that down. So now that will be a buff to utilize in the final fight, but Fluffy Nemesis is still trailing in terms of points.
They are. They've got a slight level advantage, but they've got the opportunity to overpower Yalla Bingo here. A lot of it's going to be about positioning. We can see they're pretty spread out on the side of Fluffy Nemesis, and only Potato is really defending on the top for Yalla Bingo. Very quickly going to be able to rotate down if they need to, but that is a very far down Sylveon from Yalla Bingo.
Yeah, I mean, this flank being set up by Yalla Bingo pretty solid. It's just Potato being so patient. I love how they're playing with this lead. Buzzwole just going to protect the back caps. Metallic goes in. Dragon Kurt Hornleech goes a little wide, but they land that huge Unite move. Great play by Asnable. Metallic tries to chase on the Sylveon. That's a Unite move from 60s to try to gain some space.
Oh, and the Poop Unbound being popped down at the bottom. Tier 1, that's a really interesting spot. A lot of damage starting to go onto the Rayquaza. Big Unite coming out from the Umbreon, stealing some shields. 2 members down now of Yalla Bingo. 2 heavy damage dealers as well. That's a huge deal. Hyper Voice trying to take down the Umbreon, but actually gets pushed away and flanked. Not able to get maximum damage. Rayquaza down to about 30% life. They stopped attacking it. They're trying to deal with the threats, but this could end up being a flip. One more KO here. Sylveon going down. No more Hyper Voice to try and take it, but there are still enemies there, and the last hit going to Fluffy Nemesis.
And it was the snipe shot too. Yeet Fan comes off of respawn, walks into that corridor and says, hey team, hit the Ray. I got this. Like a cool guy.
That's exactly what a cool guy would do. They would get KO'd, show up fashionably late to the party, and get in that most important moment. That's exactly what we saw. I was staring at all of the other threats that were around for both sides. I was not even paying attention to the potential of a snipe shot. Been very strong this tournament, but that is going to confirm that Fluffy Nemesis will win their first set in Game 3. Barely, I would say, against Yalla Bingo.
Woo-wee. All right.